Okay, so in this video we'll be showing how to install DNS and set up a primary DNS server with our own locally done domain name. So DNS is the domain name service that allows us to manage, rather to translate domain names to IP addresses and vice versa. So for us to install this, we need a number of tools. We need NSLookup, we need named, we can even use dig or host, but I think I'll use NSLookup. So what we can first do is just see what package allows us to have those items. So we can say what provides NSLookup. Yam what provides. So this ideally should be bind utilities. So that's the one that we can install. So you can say yam install bind -y. You can then just let it install. Okay, so once it's done installing, we can then first of all edit the etc-resolve.conf. So etc-resolve.conf. So the resolve.conf has a simple purpose. The purpose is to show us the IP address of the name server that is being used for our resolution. Meaning, the IP address we find here is the IP address for the DNS requests. So this is the IP address the DNS requests are being forwarded to. So for me, this is my router. So I'll put a hash, meaning I'll comment it. Okay, so if you've not played in Vim before, so when you just come in, press I so that it inserts. Then after you insert, you can then say hash at the first name server so that we comment it out like I have done. Then write your own name server line and then say 127.0.0.1. Okay, so this means that our DNS requests will be forwarded to our own machine. It won't be forwarding to any outside machine. So that's what we need to do in the resolve.conf. When we do this, this should make the DNS service to be able to work as a caching server. So what we can do is first of all start it. So we say service named start, and then once it starts running, we can then test it using NSLookup. Okay, so NSLookup is just a tool that we can use to query the name server. Okay, so we'll say set type equals any, so that we view everything, all the information. Then we can go ahead and just type in a simple name like localhost.localdomain. And then if it's able to translate that to 127.0.0.1, which we can see it does, it gives us the address here, 127.0.0.1. That means that it's able to work as a caching server. So this means that by having it as a caching server, you can use it, and every time you ask it for a domain name, it can ask the root servers for translations, and then it can forward them to you, and then keep a copy locally for the next time that you might ask. Okay, but for us, we're going a step further. We want it to be an authoritative server. Right now it's not, it's only a caching server or a hinting server. So here we want it to be a primary or an authoritative server. So to do this, we need to create our own domain name. So our own domain name, so that when we ask it for that domain, it should be translating itself. So first of all, we'll stop the service from running. So for us to create our domain name, we first of all need to, okay, so the name that we'll create, for example, will be swashi.org. Okay, so that will be the domain name that we'll be creating. And then the IP address that we'll give it should be translating that name to 192.168.43.1, or maybe I'll just say .141, which is my Windows machine. So this is the domain name. If someone types, it should be translating to this IP address. So this is what we'll be creating. So first things first, we have to go inside the named.conf. So we say vim etc named.conf. Once we're in there, we press I to insert, and then we scroll all the way down. Once we are at the bottom here, we can then create our own zone. So notice here, just on top of the includes, so just on top of the includes, we can create a zone, and then in quotes we'll say swashi.org, and then we'll say in, okay, then open and close curly brackets. Then in between the curly brackets, we'll say type master. Type master simply just means that it's not going to be asking some other server for the IP address for swashi.org. Rather, it will be getting the IP address from a file. So which file is going to keep this IP address? So this is the one we write here. So we'll call it swashi.org as well. So swashi.org in quotes like that. So you can see, open curly bracket, the curly bracket closes, and then in between type master, file swashi. Then when we are here, we just want to see the directory. So the directory is var named. So this directory is the one where we're supposed to be putting the zone files, the file that keeps the IP address. So we can save this for now. So we can escape, then full colon, then WQ exclamation mark to save. Escape on your keyboard, then full colon, then WQ exclamation mark. Then we can go inside the directory, so cd var named. So inside this directory, we can create a new zone. So we'll say vim swashi.org. We have to spell it exactly the way we wrote it in the etc named.conf. So it's going to be a blank file. So we'll press I to insert, and then we can start at in start of authority, and then we can say swashi.org dot, and then we'll say root at swashi.org dot, then we'll open a round bracket here. Okay, so for now I won't put anything there. Then we'll tab, then we'll put a serial number. So I'll just say 2020, maybe 2024. Then we'll say 009 0100. Okay, I'll tab and then semicolon. I'll put a comment and say serial, and then we'll put the refresh time to be about 6 hours. So this will be 21,600. So that's in seconds. That's the refresh time. So that's in 6 hours. Then we will also put a retry. Okay, so retry of maybe 30 minutes is 1,800. So this is for 30 minutes. Then the expiry, we'll put 1 week. So 1 week in seconds is 604800. Okay, so 60 that's what 604,800, and then this will be a space of 1 week. Then a TTL of 1 day. So 1 day in seconds is 86 by 400, right? 86,400. We'll close the round bracket, and then we'll put the minimum, so that this is the minimum TTL, so this is 1 day. Okay, so once that is done, so I'll just enter twice. So we'll say in, then we'll say the name server address, which is dns.swashi.org. Remember to be including the dots at the end. Then the IP version 4 address, the IP version 4 address 192.168.43.141. So this now is our IP. Okay, so this is our IP, the IP that swashi.org should be translating to. Okay, then DNS in a, okay, let me just, I think here there is an additional. Okay, so I'm just tabbing, just one tab is enough, 168.43.141. okay. In case you're going to put an FTP server for your domain name, so you might want, let's say FTP, so these are subdomains, ftp.swashi.org, so we might say FTP there, in a same IP address, 92.168.43.141. And in case you have an SSL address as well, you can say that, 168.43.141. So what these allow us to do is to be able to run subdomains, so that we can say dns.swashi.org or ftp.swashi.org or ssl.swashi.org. So that's the idea there. So we can escape :WQ exclamation mark, so that we save. Then once we save, we can start the service named start. Okay, so it's given an error. So if it's given an error, then there's probably a mistake that has been made in at least one of the files. So we'll just run journalctl -xeu named.service, so that we see there's a semicolon missing in the named.conf. Okay, all right. Okay, so looks like there's something we forgot to do there. Okay, so let me go back in the named.conf, vim etc named.conf. Okay, so let me just see, where did I forget? Okay, so I forgot to add it here at the end of the zone. Okay, so this is the one here. So this is the one that was missing. So escape WQ exclamation mark. Let's try running it again. Service named start. Okay, seems there's another one. So run journal -xeu named.service again. So yeah, my bad. Journal. Okay, so let's see any other error. So swashi.org, no TTL specified, no TTL specified. Okay, so no TTL specified. So meaning it's not able to see the TTL value that I included. Okay. Okay, I think the serial number is also a little too long. Okay, so go back inside Vim swashi.org. Let's just verify a couple of things. So 2024 here 0, just 1. Okay, swashi.org dot. Okay, let's see, TTL. So we've got the serial, the refresh, retry, expiry, and the TTL. Okay, so this looks fine. Okay, so it started now. So meaning the corrections that I've made, so I'll just open the named.conf. So cat named.conf. Sorry, cat etc named.conf. So make sure that this is how your zone file should look, right? Of course, where I have put swashi.org, you can put your own domain name, right? So that's swashi.org, and then make sure the semicolon is added at the end. Then cat var named swashi.org, the zone file that you create. So this name firstly has to match exactly this name that you typed in the named.conf. And then secondly, the serial number here. Normally I like to start it with the year, so 2024, right? Even though I'm recording this in 2023, but 2024, and then you can put how many digits is this? About 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 digits. 2024 or the year, and then 6 digits. Okay, then you can put serial, the serial number, the refresh time, the retry time, the expiry, and the minimum TTL based on hours or days or weeks, but you convert them in seconds. So these are in seconds. And then you can then go on and create the DNS name. So this is the name server, then the IP version 4 address for the name, and then the subdomains that you want to create. So if that is done well, okay, so service status named, so we'll see that service named status. Okay, so we'll see that it's running. So since it's running, we can then go on and say ns lookup. If it's not running, then the problem has to be with one of those things I highlighted. So we'll call ns lookup, set type equals any, and then ask it to translate our domain name. So the domain name we created was swashi.org. So if we type swashi.org, it should give us the IP address 192.168.43.141, which it does here at the bottom. So this means it's working well. You could also try out the subdomains dns.swashi.org. Okay, I think I've misspelled org. It's supposed to be org. So just do that again. ns lookup set type equals any. You can say dns.swashi.org. Okay, then it should also give us the same IP. So for that domain name, that's the IP address. Then even when we do ftp.swashi.org, same IP address, unless if you put a different IP address in the zone file. Okay, and SSL www.sweshi.org. So same IP address. So that's pretty much what we mean. That's how to configure a DNS server, and particularly make your own domain name that you can use locally. So like the video, comment, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for support.